backstory. Right, this one came out of nowhere. This one's came out on... right, so yeah, this one's quite an old one, but I had no idea about this film. I had no idea about the star, director, but what are your thoughts on The Running Man? Now, I think you've watched it quite recently, haven't you, Paul?
Yes.
You weren't massively keen on it, were you? Is that a statement?
No, that was not from me.
Oh, right. Fair. I've got the impression that you weren't a fan for some reason. But anyway,
God, no.
The Running Man is getting a remake. Can't believe it, to be fair. It's absolutely rife for a remake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just my thoughts on The Running Man as it is. I really like The Running Man. I think the score in it is so sick, so memorable. I loved it. I showed my partner Georgia it a couple of years ago. She loved it. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, not my favorite Arnold film, but it's in top tier, not lower tier. But the concept to it is so sick. Like the game show, mate. Like this is so sick. And I think only now it can be even improved with like a budget and stuff like that. But so we have got, I'm just going to get this story up from the Hollywood Reporter. In talks to direct is none other than Edgar Wright, famous from the Cornetto trilogy. Now, mate, I love this. I absolutely love it. Like, Edgar Wright, first off, Shaun of the Dead, probably is in my top 20 films of all time, if I was going to really seriously think about it. That film, to me, is 5 stars out of 5. It's a masterclass in horror comedy, in my eyes. Love Hot Fuzz, and I like The World at World's End. I do love that. I don't love it. That's an overstatement. I don't like it as much as Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, but I do really like that film. I think it gets shit on a little bit more than what it's worth. But yeah, this is coming from Paramount Pictures, and it's starring none other than my number one pick for Cyclops, Glen Powell. Mate, Glen Powell, The Running Man. Is this not just like music to your ears or what? What do you think about this story, mate?
Yeah, look at that. Like Glen Powell, who's having an absolute run at the moment. I got introduced to him with Top Gun Maverick. He was in that film with Sydney Sweeney at the start of the year. He's in Hitman. Is it that what it's called? Coming out.
Looks really good, yeah.
Looks really cool, yeah. Edgar Wright, Glen Powell, a classic. Oh, classic. An 80s Arnie classic, man. Yeah, like you said, it is rife for a remake in our sort of social media age we're in now. What was great is, yeah, I recently watched it a couple of weeks ago. I think I picked it up on 4K in like a 2 for 30 in HMV. And I watched it with my girlfriend, and she was like, no one would watch this show in real life. I'm like, are you joking? Are you joking? If this was on the internet, people getting killed in a game show, you're telling me no one would watch it in real life? When bullshit. Everyone would watch. It'd be the best. It would be the biggest watched show in the history of television if it was real life. But yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's what's good about the original is, well, not good about it, but it's not one of them films where I feel like don't touch this film. You know what I mean? No. It's as much as I love Arnie and I love his movies and I grew up with his movies. The Running Man is not one of them films where I'm like, don't touch this. This is flawless. It can't be improved. It can. You can go in any sort of direction with it. And Edgar Wright, not the sort of film, I don't think he's ever made really sort of a film like this before. Scott Pilgrim, but you know that's not really.
That's a good point, though.
I mean, Scott Pilgrim's probably his biggest big budget sort of movie, was it not?
Yeah, but it's like an adaptation, isn't it? Edgar Wright isn't known for doing other people's work, so that's right. Like, apart from Scott Pilgrim, well, so this is. Go on.
I was just gonna say, if I can remember, The Running Man is based on a novel, is it not? It's based on a Stephen King novel.
Stephen King novel, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So I can imagine it's going to be very different from the Arnie version.
Maybe more like the book that I haven't read. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's worth seeking that one out. But yeah, mate, I think this is. I saw this story and I was like, oh my God, Glen Powell, Edgar Wright, Running Man. Yeah. Like you say, this isn't a Total Recall for me where it's just like, don't remake that film. Whereas I don't hate the Total Recall remake, but if name it something else and just pop it over here, don't mention Total Recall or anything like it's an all right action science fiction film. It's fine.
The best sort of remakes for me, or sort of like a different adaptation, are the ones where once you have the both, you think, what version do I fancy watching? Whereas when you think of Total Recall, you're instantly going to go, I want to watch the Arnie version. As much as you enjoyed that remake, you're always going to grab the Arnie one. Always. Whereas the Running Man, if this is a banger film, once it's out, I'm like, do I want to watch the Arnie version? Or do I want to watch the Edgar Wright Glen Powell version?
Yeah. I wonder if they bring, is it Jesse Ventura? Is he was in
the yeah. Oh, what was his name in it, man? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember, but he's still kicking them out, man.
Captain Amazo or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but he was one of the best parts of that film, definitely.
You know, so something funny. Mean, Gene.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that one. I can't wait to see what sort of direction it takes. It's been on the cards for a while, that as well. 2021, that started.
Oh, right.
Sort of not pre-production, but that's when Edgar Wright attached himself to it.